Oh, and we're here now. And this is probably the presentation that I'm the most excited to be sharing with you, these ideas. And it is probably also the presentation that I'm the most nervous about. Nervous in the sense that this is a really big topic. And it is my heartfelt desire and hope to do this justice. So before we go further, I want to introduce you to my favorite word in the English language. This word will help to explain to you why I'm a little bit hesitant, although excited, to be talking about the dark feminine. The word is ineffable. Ineffable is an adjective that means when something is too great or too extreme to be expressed or described in words, such as the ineffable mysteries of the soul. It also could mean that something is not to be spoken, or something not to be uttered. So with that said, let's talk about the ineffable. Let's talk about the dark feminine, and let's go deep into the depths of our souls. Because the dark mother is the mother of all of life. We are born out of darkness. Darkness is pure potential. And I'm sure you know by now that dark matter makes up most of this universe. And dark matter is the most potent energy source there is. I also want to speak to you shamanically and ask you to engage with your imagination during this talk. Because your imagination is the limitations of your mind. You can only believe what you're able to imagine. And living in this culture, especially in Europe, our cultural landscape has really not given us many tools to imagine a God that is not white and not male. But it didn't used to be like this. So let's talk about two words. The words here are mother and matrix. So the word matter, like things that matter, actually is the root word of mother. And we've talked about this before, how in Hinduism they consider all things that are material to be manifestations of the divine feminine, whereas consciousness is the divine masculine. I also want to talk about the word matrix. And I'm sure you're already thinking about the movie The Matrix. And did you know that the word matrix actually doesn't refer to a computer simulation? The word matrix actually means womb. And in the Matrix movie, the pods, as you can see here, where the humans were put into by the artificial intelligence and kept there as battery sources of energy, these pods are the matrix, where they're living in this kind of nutritional goop and being kept alive through their brain function with the computer simulation that they're in. One last thing that I want to point out is the words that children use. Often for children, natural instinct is to say mama for the mother figure and papa for the masculine figure, the father figure. And if you think about these two words, or if you even try to pronounce them for yourself, you'll notice that mama is a downward moving energy. Mama, the m sound brings you down, whereas pa takes you up. And this is very much the direction of these two energies, right? Mother is down and father is up. Also, you might notice that when you say mama, you're pulling the energy into your mouth and down your throat, whereas when you say papa, papa would be the least COVID-friendly word, because papa, you're almost guaranteed to spit a little bit when you say it. For the happenings of the world are not enough to separate a soul. To blunt and bruise, yes, but never to sever the threads that hold me together. And so I happily begin my search again. Sometimes we have to come out of the light, go into the shadow and get some respite. I have searched for you from my first breath. I didn't recognize you at first, but I felt you. I had lost you in the bustling noise of the world, and I continue to lose you every day. But I seek, not remembering anything, except that there is something I have forgotten. And then I find you. There's no refuge. There's no destination. There's only this. How do we approach the divine feminine or the sacred? We need to be humble. And we need to feel this true yearning to surrender in devotion. What she is not is this overly sexualized character. So sexualizing the divine feminine does appeal to many more than the true embodiment of raw essence that the sacred feminine really is. So how can we come to her? Well, it's time to unlearn how you were taught to understand the divine feminine. She's not in the pretty pictures of goddesses. She's not a play act. She doesn't conform. She isn't all love and light and Botox and handbags. Devi consciousness is a boundless energy. She is unknown. She is the mystery. Any attempt to define her will only limit your ability to comprehend her. She's not meant to be analyzed, and you don't need to understand her. She is love, unconditional and divine, and that is how you will know her. My first experience of the dark feminine was when I met Kali Ma as a young teenager in India. And when I first saw Kali Ma and I saw her depictions, I thought, yes, this is how a goddess should be. Scary and fierce. Strong and powerful. Terrible. So Kali Ma is greatly revered by millions of Hindus. She's an archetype that can be really hard for Westerners to understand. She comes in many forms. Sometimes she's called Kali. Sometimes she's the Black Tara. Sometimes she's called Rangda. She is both beloved and terrible. She is a personification of the transformative powers of the Mother Goddess, the Destroyer, and the Changer. The Goddess is threefold. She is the Maiden, she's the Sustainer, and she's the Crone, the symbols of the ever-changing processes of life. And Kali's story started when there was this huge battle on the earth against some terrible demons, and they could not be killed by any males. So gods, the many gods, got together and created Durga, and Durga in turn manifested Kali from a drop of blood in her forehead. And Kali is the one who slayed the demons. But she got so into it, she got so ecstatic in her dance that she almost killed her husband, Shiva. And he lay down before her, and when she stepped on his body, she finally ceased her berserk. So this is how we often see her depicted in the traditional iconography. So that's Shiva that she's standing on. And she has all these skulls or heads as a necklace, and they represent the cut-off illusions, delusions, and lies. And then you see she has a skirt made from arms, and this is to represent cutting off bad actions and addictions and things that we do. The word Kali means both black or dark, and it also means something like time. So the first creation before light, there was this black matter from which everything is born. So I want to share with you a short poem. Once upon a time, the world became overpopulated by demons. They filled the world with their insatiable greed and reproduced themselves endlessly. Could be now, right? They ate the light of day, and they soil the air, and they consume the trees, and they swallow the waters, and they devour the land with their insatiable greed, eating and eating and eating. Fill me, until there were no more things of beauty made, or new dreams dreamed, or children born. The gods called to me, the unborn ones called to me. The time had come to say enough and no more. I am the goddess of no more. I am the one who devours fools. I am the shadow, the flame, the dancing feet of all those lives that are wasted by the demons of greed and arrogance. I am the mother of those who are yet to come. Jai Ma, Kali Ma. Kali is the goddess who liberates souls. She comes in many forms and has just as many names. She's one of the most powerful and cosmic goddesses. And this is someone who I'm grateful to beyond words. Kali is the mother of language and mantras. She's the divine protector and the destroyer of demons. She's the primordial black mass of which all life arose. She is Shakti, she is savage, she is wild. She is Kali Ma. It is also said that the primordial sound Om was the sound the pregnant Kali used when she rubbed her belly as she gave birth to the universe. So we have to talk about light if we talk about dark. Light can only exist when there's dark, whereas dark is the absence of light. So there is this complementary dualism, right? Where we've become in some way addicted to light with this idea of the white man God who sits in the sky and judges us. When we're addicted to light, we create separation and we create judgment. So finding this complementary dualism of not being afraid of the dark, not being afraid of darkness, not being afraid of our own darkness. Because it is in the dark that we see the light. It is in the dark that we learn to love and love again. In the West, we have developed a light addiction. This is a life of separation, a duality that generates a singular goodness as opposed to badness. So everything becomes either or and defined by its opposite. So good versus bad, light versus dark, for example. People who are not afraid of their own darkness will find an ever-restoring source of wisdom. People who are constantly renewing their own source of power are harder to manipulate. And that's why these stories are intentionally keeping us only looking at the light, because humanity has understood this for a long time. This very concept was painted on cave walls. When you're always looking with your two eyes, your third eye cannot open. Third eye is what sees inside. First step is to honor the wild nature in you. Wild doesn't mean that you're out of control. If anything, wild is fully in control. Wild is our most natural state. Let it be heard, nothing tame was ever made that way by her own choice. We have become domesticated. And it's so true. If you see a tiger in a zoo or in a circus, it's pathetic compared to a wild tiger that's running free. And I'm really sorry to do this to you, but you are the same as the tiger in the circus. So I want to compare these two philosophies from love and light and this new age concept to the dark mother and the other side. So spirituality doesn't have to be in opposition to reality. Spirituality can actually be an embodiment of an energy. And what is true is often not what you want to hear. Just because it doesn't feel good doesn't mean it's not right. Just because it's right doesn't mean it feels good. But you will know. And when it's true, it will empower you to take action. Whereas when you feel good, you don't. These new stories in the new age have us reaching only for the light and keeping us afraid of the darkness and only looking to what's light. And here's the truth, my friends. People who don't sleep, people who don't rest, people who don't go into the darkness become ill. We need night. Seeds need to be put into the belly of the mother, into the darkness of the soil to sprout. So I'm just going to go through this, and this is a shorter version of a very long table, and that table could be a 20-minute thing if I was to go through the whole thing, but let's just go through. These are the main ones that I picked out from. This was a long time putting this together. So the Dark Mother is about embodiment. It's about bringing your soul into your body to be fully embodied in yourself. Whereas the New Age and Light and Love only is sort of about transcendence, about sending your spirit up and away, leaving the body. The Dark Mother and the Dark Feminine asks you to participate in life, whereas the New Age and Light and Love only asks you to kind of go away and become a guru on a mountain somewhere. The Dark Mother is all about affirming life, and the New Age and Light and Love culture is very much about denying life, in the sense that I have to pretend to be a spiritual person, whereas the Dark Mother asks you to just show up in your mess, be as you are. To be human is to be a bloody mess, and for those of you who still have your periods, you know exactly what I mean, whereas the New Age Love and Light culture is saying that to be spiritual is to be perfect, ageless, and to be this wealthy conqueror full of Botox and green juice. The Dark Mother talks about Akilananda. Akilananda is another one of the incarnations of Kali. Akilananda means never not broken. There's always something more to do. We cannot conquer it. Whereas the New Age wants us to work hard to heal, to transform, and to fix ourselves so that one day we will be good enough or lovable or spiritual enough or reach that place. The Dark Mother understands Akilananda. It's never not going to be broken. The Dark Mother is about the collective, the tribe, and the world. New Age is about self-improving your ego. The Dark Mother willingly accepts suffering as a part of creation. She knows that giving birth is a terrible pain, whereas the New Age is trying desperately to get free from suffering. The Dark Mother is profound. The New Age is detached. The Dark Mother is inclusive. New Age is exclusive. The Dark Mother is groundlessness. New Age is ungrounded. The Dark Mother is wild. The New Age is control. The Dark Mother is all about surrender and devotion. The New Age is all about attempting to control. The Dark Mother understands that nothing needs to be achieved, and the New Age is all about attainment. The Dark Mother's portal is grief. The New Age portal is pain. The Dark Mother requires nothing. The New Age is full of rules and dogma. The Dark Mother sees nothing as forbidden and everything is sacred, whereas the New Age is full of taboos. The Dark Mother is sensual. The New Age is more aesthetic. The Dark Mother is all about sacred sensuality, and the New Age Light and Love is more about celibacy. The Dark Mother invites the body. The New Age is about the mind. The Dark Mother directs us in and down into the body. The New Age asks us to go up and out in a way. The dark mother has a goal, which is to make life better for all beings. The new age aims to make life better for oneself. The dark mother asks us to worship the chaos and the beauty and the fragility and the tenderness of life. The new age asks us to worship order, power, and money. Now, I recognize that this list is very black and white, and you might not agree with everything, and of course there's going to be overlap. But I ask you to just notice the real from the fake, the authentic from the pretentious. These stories about light, and love have us reaching for the light, keeping us afraid of the darkness and only seeking the light. When we can receive the moment that we're in, we're going to be in intimacy with the divine. Now I want to talk to you about 2 logic versus 4 logic. And this is taking us deeper into shamanic wisdoms. So in this kind of Western, Aristotelian, analytical thought, things are either true or false. They either exist or they don't exist. This is like mutually exclusive, a binary, 2-valued logic. It's contrast, it's limiting, and this is the foundational structure of our language. And so it's very hard for us to conceptualize something beyond 2-valued logic, because it's imbued in our language in a way that makes it very hard, ineffable in fact, to talk about the other. But I will try. So coming from 2 logic, which is this very Western concept, into 4 logic, which is a much more shamanic concept. 4-valued logic sees things as interdependent and understands the unlimited wholeness and the unity of all things. 4-valued logic helps deconstruct our conditioned minds into a natural state where we see things holistically. 4-valued logic changes the awareness of our mind to allow for new and expanded understandings of reality, allowing our mind to transcend our own gripping and grasping of reality and thought. 4-valued logic undermines our ability to hold a fixed position, which can be terrifying. 4-valued logic rejects standard 2-value reason. 2-value reason does not accurately reflect or comprehend the fundamental nature of reality. Reality transcends thought. 4-valued logic is an intuitive awareness of the timeless existence of the underlying non-local field that pervades everything. So in quantum physics, we understand the effect and the effect of the overseer. There is no existing world separate from the observer, or any observer separate from the world. So instead of just having this true and false in 4-value logic, we also have number 3, which is they're both true and false. And number 4, they're neither true nor false. So things can be and are true and false, both true and false, and neither true nor false. I know this is a lot. But the truth is that we are able to recover from our monotheistic light addiction, because this concept of light and dark, good or bad, 2-valued logic, and a white man God sitting on a cloud and judging us generates in us a mental dis-ease, and we become addicted to straight lines that define our concept of time as linear and profits as ever increasing. The truth is that nature is self-sustaining and moves in cycles, spirals, and circles. And I just want to talk for a brief moment about indigenous cultures, where, oh, they're heathens, oh, they're not evolving. They've lived the same way for many thousands of years, but they are living in harmony with nature, whereas this Western culture seeks dominance, but also ultimately is an imbalance with its environment and its surroundings. And I don't know if I want to use the word sick, but definitely I want to use the word addiction, because if I define addiction as the pattern of doing something to try to achieve a state of wholeness and ease in a way that is incapable of sustaining itself, this is our culture that we're in. So, who are we then when we don't try to conquer, dominate, punish, control, ascend, or go beyond? Maybe we can just be here. Maybe there isn't anything wrong. Maybe we're not a mistake. Here's another face of Kali, Chamunda. Chamunda is a fearsome form of Chandi, Shakti. She's one of the 7 matrikas, you remember? She's the goddess of war and epidemics of pestilent diseases, famines, and other disasters. So this is a goddess, an avatar, an energy that needs to exist. And there's nothing wrong. So in our Western culture, and for some of you, you know I've talked about this when I first came back to Europe after many years away, I was seeing people's auras very strongly, and seeing that not everybody, but the majority of people here have a very overly opened third eye chakra, a very imbalanced energy body, because the third eye is too open and the lower chakras are very closed. Because instead of keeping our center of gravity in the lower parts of the body, we've moved it up into our head, to our brain, to our mind, which means we've all gotten mental. So again, these spiritual teachings that center and focus only on light are distortions, because the messages that are received were interpreted by people who are uncomfortable with their own shadows. So any purely light-focused spiritual practice or religion might have been a true divine revelation at some point, but then it's filtered through those who were not in good relation with their own darkness, and the message thus became fragmented into a sort of half-truth. We all have agency and free will, and we are all subject to impermanence. The question is not, what will I do for the world knowing that I can't fail? The question is, what will I do knowing that they're going to burn me? This is my call to you, sister. Stay in the fire. Be spiritual in the street. Where is our center? Where do we find the goddess? Well, as in all art, she's in the guts, not the head. And whether she's in your heart, or whether she's further down in your intestines, in your womb, maybe she's everywhere. She's God in the flesh, up close and personal. She is the immanent face of God, and as you live in the belly of the goddess, it requires an immense opening of the heart. This is a raw invitation to you to appreciate life as it is, the guts, the decay, and the beauty. As we appreciate her dance and her creation, seeing that everything is coming and going, birth and death, seeds blossoming and flowers wilting, decaying, the beauty and the ugly imperfections. It's what makes it divine, these deep currents of feminine energy guiding us down, deeper down, and further in. So I ask you, where you stand as a temple onto yourself. You come as one, but you stand as tens of thousands. Remember the sacred, just as it is. Life is more powerful than you. You are sure-footed. And I want to share this last little reading. As I continued to surrender to her healing body, I began to realize Despite what white male God had taught me, my body was not an enemy to be subdued and colonized. So I began to let go of an ideal body size and instead slowly build peace with my body. I began each day by getting out of the shower and compassionately examining my naked body in the full-length mirror and reminding myself that my body was my best friend. Unlike white male God, my body had never rejected me, never given up on me, starved me, broken up with me, or threatened me. Despite all that white male God had done to it, my body was still doing its absolute best to keep me alive. I cultivated compassion for my body each day by focusing on one part of my body and verbally thanking it for being on my side and working to keep me alive despite everything. And so after months of practicing daily body gratitude, I experienced a magical shift. One day I looked in the mirror and realized that my body was the physical representation of the sacred feminine. Through all my issues with binging, restricting, and over-exercising, she had been with me all along, affirming, sustaining, and supporting me in the form of my body. Through all of my failed attempts to win validation from white male God and his minions, she had been there all along, keeping me alive and sticking by my side. Shocked and still naked, I dropped to the hardwood floor and instinctively stretched my arm toward my reflection in the mirror. I wanted to touch her holy and beautiful body. I wanted to touch my holy and beautiful body. Remember, sister, you come as one, but you stand here as tens of thousands. I hope I did the dark feminine justice. Any negativity, any dark thoughts, any lies, any delusions that you're ready to release in this moment, give as a gift to Kali Ma, and may she dance that shit into dust, and may it turn into compost and fertilizer for new, beautiful, ugly creations to grow from. Thank you for listening.